A serving of hot Cheetos has more calories than a serving of oranges. Starting with a comparison of their chemical formulas. The reactants for the digestion of Cheetos have more bonds, which means that more energy is required to break the bonds and form the products. The more bonds that break, the more energy is used. So the more bonds that are needed to break, the more energy it will take. Because Cheetos have more molecules, they have to do more work than oranges when they are being digested. An analogy would be a person running with a backpack and a person running without a backpack. Both are running the same distance, but one has to exert more energy because it has more weight. Because the Cheeto has more bonds and its chemical formula is larger, it requires more energy to do the same amount of work. Let's look at some calculations.
When calculating the energy released by the digestion of the hot Cheetos, we get negative 5,857.6 joules. Let's walk through the steps. First, we can see that we don't have enough information to calculate Q of hot Cheetos. However, we do have enough information to calculate negative Q of water, which is equal to Q of Cheetos. Therefore, we can cross out Q of Cheetos and represent it as delta H. Now we plug in where necessary. The mass of water was 50 grams. Its specific heat is 4.184 joules per grams times degrees Celsius, and the change in temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. After plugging this into our calculator, we get negative 5,857.6 joules. This represents the amount of energy released when digesting the hot Cheeto. However, we are trying to find this amount in calories. Since 1 calorie is equal to 4.184 joules, we can divide negative 5,857.6 joules by 4.184 joules, which leaves us with negative 1,400 calories. Finally, we know that one serving of hot Cheetos is 28 grams. Therefore, to find how many calories is in one serving, we simply multiply negative 1,400 by 28 grams, and we get negative 39,200 calories per serving in grams.
Now we simply repeat these calculations with the orange. Again, we can see that we don't have sufficient evidence to plug into Q of orange, so we represent that as delta H and just calculate for negative Q of water. All the variables are the same as in the first equation, except the change in temperature here is 13 degrees Celsius instead of 28. After plugging this into a calculator, we get negative 2,719.6 joules. Again, this amount, like in the first equation, represents the amount of energy released, but this time by the orange. After converting this to calories, we get negative 650 calories. Lastly, one serving of orange is 11 grams. Therefore, after multiplying this by negative 650 calories, we get a total of 7,148 calories per serving in grams.
Looking at the final picture, it's evident that the hot Cheeto has significantly more calories per serving than the orange per serving. We can ignore the negative symbol because that simply represents whether the energy is being released or absorbed. Therefore, looking at just the number, we see that hot Cheetos has more calories in one serving than one orange does in one serving.